Good morning. It is Craig Bennett, aka Cash Keg, here for an NFL Pro Bowl video. I wasn't going to do one of these, but I got a lot of messages, and a few people really wanted me to do one of these Pro Bowl videos. There is rhyme or reason where we can take some stabs at a few of these guys that I think we can take advantage of. But again, play very lightly in this format over here on Prize Picks. Even if you're going to play DraftKings on FanDuel, just play very lightly in these. Even though that we can look at some historical data and kind of pinpoint maybe where it'll go, it's still going to be hit or miss with some of these guys. So again, if you want to play this, play very lightly. I'm going to go in and talk about a few plays that maybe you can play and talk about my favorite play and the reasoning behind it. And hopefully it'll help you maybe make some money today. But again, play lightly, play for fun. But hey, let's dive in a little NFL Pro Bowl. As always, if you like these videos and they help you at all, please smash that like button for me. Subscribe to the channel. Helps me a lot. Lets me know that you want me to keep doing these videos for you. And again, you want Pro Bowl? I'll do some Pro Bowl for you. I am not probably personally playing this, just complete transparency. But I will talk about the plays I would play if we're going to throw a few dollars on this. And again, if you were, I would not throw a ton of money on this. But I will explain the plays that I think could get you there if you were going to play, and I'll go through a few of them and just explain them. So again, this is the Prizepicks desktop here. If you don't have an account, go over to prizepicks.com, use promo code DFSArmy, and get that 100% instant deposit match up to $100. And let's talk about it a little bit. So if we're going to look at the Pro Bowl a little bit here, right? Just at the rules and whatnot, each side's going to have, 3 quarterbacks. Just looking at historical data, it's really hard to peg what they're going to do, because sometimes we've seen quarterbacks, the one that goes third will finish the second half. Or we've seen sometimes where quarterbacks will start the game and they'll play almost a half. So I'm not going to touch any quarterback. I think if you were going to look at anyone, I would tend to look for the younger guys, right? Or the guys that haven't played. Mahomes just came off a game, right? I wouldn't play Mahomes here. Like, the dude just came off a bad loss against Cincinnati last week. To me, there's just no reason to play Mahomes here, right? I would look at some of the younger guys, maybe like a Justin Herbert over or Mac Jones over. Any of these guys can get there in 1 or 2 plays, right? So it's like super volatile for me to play any of these guys. Really don't know how the rotations are they're gonna go out with how much they'll get. But I would lean more to the younger guys, like we saw Kirk Cousins play damn near a half one of those games. But again, you got Mac Jones coming in here. We could see him throw the ball around quite a bit. That's a low yardage total for him. So I would lean the over on that one, and over on Justin Herbert. Again, the younger guys I would look at in this format. I just think they could see a little bit more playing time. But if we're going to go here, some of my favorite plays, just going back and looking at data, it's the tight ends, man. So with tight ends, they have to have one on the field at all times, and there's only 4 of them. There's only 4 tight ends. There's Pitts, Andrews, Kelsey, and Kittle. So by far, what I told you about young guys, this is Kyle Pitts' first Pro Bowl, right? And Kelsey just played a game. Kittle just played a game. I don't want to lean on these guys if I'm going to pick one of these guys. It's by far Kyle Pitts is my favorite on all formats here. He's a young guy. He hasn't played in a while. No meaningful games. So if I would rank them, this is by far my favorite pick to go over. Kyle Pitts over 38.5 reception yards. I just think he's going to play a ton. He's out there a ton. They just sling the ball around. Could he not get there? Sure. But we've seen guys like Mark Andrews. I believe it was last year's Pro Bowl was canceled, but the one before that, I think he caught like 9 balls for over 100 yards. It was ridiculous. Let me pull it up. It was like 9 catches for 100 yards and a touchdown. Usually you don't see that. Looking at, but yeah, 9 yards for 7. He caught 9 balls for 73 yards and a touchdown in that 2 years ago. So I would lean Kyle Pitts and Andrews just because they haven't played ball recently. Kittle and Kelsey coming off those losses, I would kind of shy away from them. But Kyle Pitts is by far, if you're gonna pick one play here to build around, it would be Kyle Pitts. Again, I kind of lean the younger guys here. It's where I would look at, building around. But definitely the tight ends, because they got to have one on the field at all times. And there's just a lot more wide receivers that they're moving in and out. So we're gonna put the first one here, Kyle Pitts. I don't mind going Mark Andrews over as well, but the tight ends are where it's at. Looking at wide receiver wise here, again, I want to focus more on the young guys, right? Tyreek Hill had that hammy, and then in the Pro Bowl, they were doing like a skills competition and they're racing, and he like I don't say he pulled up, but there's just no reason for him to really excel here. So I would go the under on Tyreek Hill. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but if I was going to lean one, I'd go the under on him. Um, I would look at more guys like Justin Jefferson, the over on him. Um, Debo, this is such a low yardage total, but man, again, coming off that gameplay, I don't know how much run he will get, but I do love Samuel a lot. It's he's a guy that just loves playing football, but one I'll probably stay away from. But if I'd lean the over on that. And then again, they're just throwing the ball over. If we're looking at reception wise, everyone tends to get 2, 3, 4 receptions, and the yardage is not massive at all. So that's why I kind of lean the tight ends. I think they're going to get their more and more receptions here. So, but again, the younger guys here, maybe Hunter Renfrow, that's hasn't been in, Johnson, Lamb. I focus more on those guys than Evans or Diggs or Hill. I think those guys I'd go more under, and these guys over. But again, play lightly here. And the other thing is to think about as well is we got reception yards on running backs. Well, you can't rush the passer in the Pro Bowl, so there's really no reason to do a dump off to one of these running backs because there's just no reason, right? Like I'm sure that they'll get 1 or 2 passes just to kind of keep them in the game because they're not going to run the ball a ton. We look back just a couple Pro Bowls ago, like there was total of the NFC rushed a total of 4 times. The AFC rushed a total of 20 times, which is kind of crazy. But it's just one of those things that I could see maybe Kamara getting it because that's his skill set. Maybe Najee Harris, but I don't see Jonathan Hill getting it. I'd lean the under on those yards. I just don't see them passing him the ball much here. So just for that reason, I would kind of lean the under on those guys. But again, the one I feel the most confident if I'm building around is just Kyle Pitts, and confident in Pro Bowl again. It's just there's no real, we're just hoping they're going to throw to some of these guys, right? And who I think's going to be on the field the most. And we know the tight ends, he's probably going to see at least a half, I would say. And Andrews is probably going to see at least a half. So those are the guys I would lean to go the overs on, just because they're going to get there. And that goes the same with receptions, right? I would go the under on Tyreek Hill receptions. Again, just playing off that game, I would lean the under there. Just looking at catches they did in that Pro Bowl 2 years ago, again, we could go back to every one, but if we're just looking at 2020, nobody had more than 4 catches except for that Mark Andrews for 9 for 73. We had a couple receivers get 4. Keenan Allen got 4 for 50. Sutton got 4 for 37. Landry 4 for 34. But a lot of these other guys like 2 catches, 3 catches, 2 catches. So maybe you want to take a couple spots and go under on some of these guys, right? Again, I would lean the under on Travis Kelce, even though I said you gotta have one tight end out there at all times. I just don't think he's gonna want to be out there a ton. I think that Mark Andrews is he's been sitting around a lot longer, and he could probably have another monster game there. So, and same thing with Kittle. I think they'll just let Pitts have a game. So I would lean the under on Kelce. Looking at these other guys, it's tough. Like I said, I'd lean the under on Hill. But then if not that many guys got 4 receptions, it's kind of tough. Like Debo, 2.5, I can see the going the over on that one just because he needs 3. But it's still with not a lot of these guys getting more than 4 catches. On the NFC side, I mean, we saw a bit more, targets. Adams did catch 6 balls for 61. Michael Thomas that year caught 5 for 62. But other than that, it was 3 and under. So the 3.5 numbers just worry you a little bit because again, with how much they kind of just spread things around. I would still focus on the young guys. So again, Justin Jefferson, maybe you want to take a chance at that over. Like I said, Tyreek Hill, I would just go under on that. I don't think he's going to catch 4 balls at all. So he would be an under if I was going to pick one here. That or the yardage. I just don't see the reason for it. Same thing with Kelce. I just don't see the reason for them to get a ton of work here, losing that game last week. So That's what I'm kind of looking at. Again, focus on the tight ends, and then focus more on the young guys here. I'm not really touching. I wouldn't touch any of these quarterbacks. Like I said, the ones I would focus on if you were Mac Jones and Herbert's over. But they're more of a crapshoot to me than focusing more on the tight ends, and then maybe some of the younger receivers that are going to be out there a little bit more, or the guys in their first Pro Bowl, like looking at Pitts. Maybe, like I said, maybe you want to look at a Renfro for 36.5, go over on that one. Those are kind of what I'm looking at. But again, please play light. Please play responsibly with this. I'm going to knock out a couple NBA videos today, so maybe you want to take Pitts and pair him with an NBA guy or something. But Pitts is by far my favorite. This weekend, today, I'll probably build a few lineups over on some of the other fantasy sites like DraftKings but it's one of those things where please play light. Don't go crazy. Focus more on the young guys. Pitts, Jefferson, those guys. What I would focus on. So with that, again, play light. Hope this helps. Again, if you like these videos and it helped you anyway, hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you on the flip side. Deuces.